Hello, I'm Nathan Judah. I'm here with Shrewsbury Town reporter Mr. Lewis Koch. Lewis, it is Monday. We are going to do 5 different videos, a review of the season, positional review of the season, starting with goalkeepers today, defenders on Tuesday, midfielders on Wednesday. What do you think is coming up Thursday?
I reckon forwards.
He knows his onions, this boy. Forwards on Thursday, and then we'll finish off with the management on Friday. So we're going to be between 5 and 10 minute videos, just reviewing the players, and obviously at the end of the videos we'll be looking at whether they need to strengthen for 2019-2020. So it is the goalkeepers today.
It's my favourite week of the season
because we keep the
same clothes. We keep the same clothes on all week, and we don't have to wash.
We do. That's very good. Very good. I like that. Yeah. No, we're going to come back every single day. Just that,
okay.
We've just got the laundry people here at Shrewsbury. They're going to sort it out for us. Right. Okay. So Monday goalkeepers. Plenty to talk about. There's been a pretty big turnover, isn't it? And then they ended up sticking with Steve Arnold playing the majority of the games.
Yeah, it's not like your normal season where there's just been one number one playing. You know, it was Dean Henderson for much of last season, obviously. There's been. I think obviously we've done a bit of research, and 3 goalkeepers have played this season. You could be forgiven for thinking it's more. Actually, it feels like maybe more than 3, but more than 3 have been signed. So that's why. But they started the season obviously under former boss John Askey with what we were led to believe was an exciting young sort of up and coming goalkeeper on loan from Huddersfield, thinking in the mould of Dean Henderson, and that was Joel Coleman. He was highly tipped, highly rated in the summer of last year to come in and be that number one that gets his experience in the Football League in Joel Coleman. No, I mean he lasted as first choice till around, I was trying to think, I think it's sort of October, November when actually the pressure really cranked up on John Askey, and Coleman he never convinced, I've got to say, considering I think he's 22, 23 and obviously at a Premier League club. Do you know, if you'll have probably seen him, Nathan, on Match of the Day, he actually started for Huddersfield on the final day.
Right, okay, yes.
Actually did well on Match of the Day, got a little bit of highlights in that, but he was an okay shot stopper, which you sort of need to be, but he failed in other departments, notably I think aerially coming for crosses in terms of being commanding. I think distribution in terms of kicking, which is another important thing.
Sure.
I remember a few soft goals while he was an okay shot stopper. I remember a few soft goals going sort of through him, and he never convinced from the get-go, which you sort of need to do as a keeper. I feel like you need to start well for fans and for your defence as well. So it never really happened for him, and he came in the summer alongside Steve Arnold, who you've mentioned. He was signed on a free transfer after a trial, and he sort of appeared in a few friendlies, Steve Arnold, and he was sort of what is it they call trialists? Yeah, trialists on a team sheet in a friendly. And we were all sort of wondering who he was, and he got a deal as what we thought would be the number 2, but come October, November, he got the nod. I remember actually he got the nod at Wimbledon when John Askey needed to win at the bottom of the table. I think it was Town 3rd or 4th bottom and Wimbledon bottom, and Town got a last minute winner, and that was Steve Arnold's sort of first game, and he built from there. I've got to say, for someone who came in, I think most Town fans would agree with this, as expected to be a number 2. I think last year he was at Barrow in the conference, not played League One for about 7 years, and he did much more than could have been really expected of him. He was number 1 probably until March for a good 4 or 5 months, played 30 odd games, a lot more than he expected to do. I know that there were a bit of there were cautions when he came in about his fitness, about his size, and I know he worked really hard to sort of trim himself down with Danny Coyne and got really into shape. And I don't think anyone works harder, so kudos to him. I don't think if you want to be competing near the top of League One, I think you need to improve for your first choice. I'm a big fan of Steve Arnold, and I think he's a superb backup, and if he has to come in and do a job, he will. But I think they'll want to improve on him for first choice. And finished the season. Obviously, he picked up an injury in February, March, and some more keepers came in.
Some more keepers, one from Derby in particular.
Yes. So another sort of that young goalkeeper mould from a higher club, and Jonathan Mitchell came in January from Derby. Heard a lot of good things actually. He trains under Shay Given at Derby. I think he's got a pretty long-term deal there. Obviously Frank Lampard in charge, and they're due to contest the playoffs at some point. Trying to judge when this has got.
Have contested.
Yes,
the playoffs.
Have contested the playoffs. Obviously with Derby, and quite highly rated by all accounts, but had to bide his time. Came in January. This I think he's 22, 23 on. Mitchell, and didn't get in ahead of Arnold, so he'd almost been brought in as a loan, but then he was on the bench, and it was a little strange. But unfortunately, Steve Arnold got a pretty bad muscle injury. It was his groin and out for the season, and in came Mitchell.
How did he do?
And he, by and large, looked pretty good. I remember for the first few games, Town got a lot of good results, and fans were quite, this lad looks good. Maybe we could look at getting him again. And I think his kicking was better than Arnold. Steve Arnold was particularly weak with the distribution area, and it started well. Like I say, he made some good saves in pivotal moments in games. It wobbled a little bit. He had a couple that went in, a couple of soft goals that shouldn't have gone in. I remember at crucial times a bit later on, and it wasn't as convincing as it could have been again for him. While I think there's still something there with Jonathan Mitchell, and he might have another loan in the Football League and do well. Again, I don't think he's the right one. I don't think if he was announced as Shrewsbury Town's number one for next season tomorrow, you'd maybe feel a little underwhelmed and just strive for someone better. And another guy on your list that came in January as well, Charles Koch. Actually, he was a free agent. He was unattached. Formerly of Koch. I think he'd played a bit of football abroad. Sam Ricketts knew him from Koch. Came in and we're thinking, well, so that's two that have come in January. One already at the club. So that's your three keepers. Who's going to be on the bench? Who's going to do what? Charles. They alternated on the bench for a bit. We haven't seen any of Charles Koch. He's not played a minute. No. So we don't really know his standard, his level. I mean, obviously you would assume if he was a top level, he would have been in. But I think many expected him to sort of be released this summer. But as the retain list came out, Sam Ricketts had offered him a new deal, which was a little bit of a surprise. But he quickly told us, the manager, that he wants three keepers, which is not the sort of done thing usually, is it? He wants three keepers, so Arnold, and I expect Charles Koch to be two of those. Says it gives a chance to send the younger keepers out on loan to non-league. There's Cameron Gregory here, who's thought quite highly of. Obviously, they all work under Danny Coyne, not directly as keeper coach anymore, but he's still in the building. And Charles Cook's still here. He's having said that, they're still in negotiations at the minute. You would expect that Charles Koch would want to stay here, where he's got a contract and he's sort of comfortable to an extent. But maybe he wants to go and be a second or a first choice somewhere else. So remains to be seen if he's going to stay on. But an interesting one. And
so going into next season, though, is goalkeeper a priority? Do they need to sign someone permanently or on loan, but someone who's got a bit of a pedigree? I
think I've seen many Town fans say this. I think it's one of the crucial points in the transfer window this summer for Sam Ricketts. I think we've all seen in recent years what a difference a top level goalkeeper in this league makes, and in any league probably, and how they didn't quite have that at any point last season, being harsh on a couple. But so he's really got to weave his magic in the window, Ricketts, to get a star of tomorrow in the goalkeeping world here for the season. If it's a loan, or if he knows a goalkeeper he can bring in permanently that's available for Town's budget, then brilliant. But you get the feeling that the loan is the way to go with that. There's got to be academy under 23 keepers in the Premier League that are really tipped for. But
you need someone who breeds confidence as well, who's confident in themselves, don't you? Especially, who can bellow out instructions from the back. They can't be timid, obviously, can they, in goal? And you like to think all keepers are bred to be loud and confident, but maybe it's not always the case. And they need to be, I think shot stopping person, I think it's a basic thing. Keepers need to be able to do that. It's the other departments that they really need to be good at. And, Dean Henderson had everything here last season. And if you're getting a goalkeeper that's near him, 70 or 80% to his level, then you're doing well, and you've got a great number one. There haven't really, obviously, rumour mill's sort of starting this summer. Haven't really been any keeper names mentioned as of yet. I do know some fans having a look at Wrexham's number one, obviously where Sam Ricketts came from, Leighton. Don't believe he's coming here, so that's one you can sort of cross off the list. But I do know that Ricketts will be deeming that as a priority this summer. And I think success, a large part of it, could hinge on getting that right man between the sticks, because I don't think really, maybe other than your goal scorer up front, there's a more important position to get right, is there? Absolutely.
I think.
Absolutely. Fingers crossed they get a goalkeeper in sooner rather than later. That ends our keeper review. Stay with us tomorrow. We'll be discussing the defenders.